Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That is our theme. That's what we're working with. And we are saying that his word is our light and we are charged by it. And today we are going to be talking about empowering a teen. And nothing empowers a teen like them knowing themselves and building themselves. With me is my co-host, Mr. Samuel Monene. Yes. And also we have a special guest. And I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Peter Matere. I know most of you know me as Peter Tesh. I'm almost thinking about changing that officially in my ID so that it fits in. But let me tell you that I'm saved. Christ is Lord upon my life. And I'm quite super excited again to be back home. This is my congregation. Yes. This is home. This is where I belong. And so thank you for allowing me to be here.
You're welcome. I think we're going to refer you as Tesh. This Peter is becoming a bit long, so we'll just go with Tesh. Karibu sana. We are excited to have you here because you have been a mentor, you have been a trainer, you've been a teacher. You are a big bro, so we know that even as we engage with you in this topic of empowering a teen, we have the right man with us. Amaje Sam. Yes. So there are so many pressures that come with becoming a teenager. Good thing we have been through those pressures, and I think sometimes they're even different with every generation that comes. What our younger brothers and sisters are going through is not what we went through. And one of the greatest pressures is to fit in. We want to fit in. We don't want to be secluded. And this time as we are discussing, we want to know how we can what's the role of other people in our lives and what is our role in building our lives, so that we don't try to fit in so much and forget who we were created to be and who we are supposed to become. Because at the end of the day, we want to become the best version of ourselves. We don't want to become versions of other people. So maybe we can ask, how do you as a teenager, 13, 14, 15, all the way to 19 years old, maintain your identity or get to find out who you are so that you don't try to fit in too much?
Wow, that's a very tough question because every particular person will definitely have to create an identity of themselves. And basically I want to echo that the best years for you to be able to focus for your future will be the teenager age. This is where, if you have the right focus, you can be able to pursue a future that is more comfortable. But the biggest problem comes in that figuring out, then who am I? What can I be? And maybe I want to ask you both, because you're past there.
Okay.
So what did you want to be in the future when you are a teenager? And as you think about that, because I can see the way Sam is looking at that, I would assure you that most of the teenagers don't really know who they want to be. And that's where you're talking about the pressures of fitting in. Because when we have not a defined person, when you don't know, this is what I want to be. And I want to bring you a little bit back to the ages of preteen, where the teacher asks you what you want to be when you grow up. When we were all kids, so Sam, what did you really want to be when you grow up?
So you know the three careers: doctor, pilot, I'm an engineer.
So you can start seeing the level of where Sam really wanted to be at that particular age. But now there is one particular thing that forced Sam or pushed Sam to look at those careers. One would be on the aspect of how he saw those people being in terms of money.
Especially money.
Especially money. So in most of the cases we find at that particular age we are asking ourselves, how do we want to be, or how can we identify ourselves? That is the factors we have to look for. And one of the major factors we look for as young people is in terms of comfort, in terms of money. You start thinking, I want to to drive a good car.
Yes.
I want to live in a comfortable home.
Comfortable place.
I want to be dressed up like so and so. In fact, most of the time that we go out to research for mentors, we don't research for mentors in terms of values. We research for mentors in terms of how good they are in terms of the world view.
Yeah.
Do they have money? Do they live well?
Yeah.
Do they own a jet? I will say for sure, if I asked you who your mentor is now and who was your mentor at the teenage,
Two different.
it will be two different
Yes.
people because you have grown over a particular age.
Yeah.
So basically I would say that for a teen not to succumb so much into the pressures, they have to identify really who they want to be. And basically, well, talking on the Bible perspective, so many times we also put the pressure as Christians that we want you to be saved, we want you to be like this and this, but what values do you carry? Because at the end of the day, what makes you better tomorrow is the values you carry along the way as a teenager. So these pressures will totally be there. And by the way, it's good to let you know that pressure is very important. Very. Because when you don't have it, then what are you doing? You know, pressure sometimes, there is positive pressure that pushes you to realize that this is where I need to be. So it's very important as to have some of it, because when I can't ask you, what do you want to be? And as we have this conversation today, I would want every young person out there to start asking themselves, who do they want to be like? Because in the Christian, you know, tunasema siku hizi tunacheza kiyesu. We want to be like Christ.
Jesus, yeah?
So, and remembering that Christ was a young person. By the way, alianza ministry akiwa youth, akakufa akiwa youth. So, sisemi watu wanakufa. I'm only saying that Christ was a young person. Look at so many people who have made an impact in the Bible. They were young. So the real fact here is we have to accept that who do we want to be like? Then research that person. What values do they carry? So that you can cling on something. Of course, then the pressure will subside, because when you tell me to cheza kama Sam na ninaonaga hachezi poa, then of course I may want not to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. And I think there's something you've mentioned that I'm really getting is that when we are looking at what we want to be, we look at the end product. The end product is the comfortable life, the car you drive, but we really never look at the values that have been built, because those values are what take us to the end product. So it's, I think, a very big lesson that we are learning, even as past teenage years and the people who are teenagers, that in these prime years of our lives, we need to look at the most important things. Sindio?
That's true.
And also, I've realized there's something that you've said about the positive pressure that pushes you towards your goal. But at times, you always get the negative pressure. And at times, you can't even know how to handle the negative pressure.
Let me interject. We always accept the negative pressure more than the positive pressure. You know, when you accept to live in the nature, in the environment you are, you tend to think it's more fun, you know, to have the pressure. You know, like when we were back then in school, a lot has been said about peer pressure. And most of the times we were told about negative peer pressure. So what was fed in us?
Negative.
You know, don't do.
Yeah.
And basically what happens is that in the human nature, we tend to want to do what we are told not to do. I wouldn't want to give the examples of the posters tunakutana huko kwa barabara, usifanye hivi, usifanye hivi. And there is that urge of wanting to have an experience of the same. So it's very good to analyze and know, yes, these are negative pressures, but how do I overcome them? How do I overcome them? I love the theme for this year. that talks about the Word of God. So asking ourselves as young people, so how many of us do interact with the Word of God? Not because we came to church, but because we have an opportunity to hear what God would want to say in our lives. And sometimes we wait for people to tell us. Sometimes we wait until we dream or have a vision, yeah? But we have a Bible, and the Word of God, you know, it's alive. So it is one of the biggest things that guides. And I want to say, I think parents play a very big role. Well, we don't understand it when we are young.
Yes, very much.
When the parents bring you to church and insist you have to go to Sunday school and insist you have to go to the youth fellowship, sometimes we feel, church, kila wakati church, you know, I don't want to say you have ever reached that point of being, I'm sure asubuhi alafu nauliza church, kweli ni a must. But let me tell you, the values you get in church mold you. And that's why sometimes I usually tell the young people, go on the streets, and when you meet with a person who is so drunk, most of the time they will not sing secular songs. They will definitely sing a song they learned in Sunday school. They carry the value. They may not be accepting it, but the value is there. So the end product has to matter. And that end product, you have to be careful that you have not to view it in terms of money.
Yes. Yes, true. True, because when money is the motivation, then values are thrown out the window, just like that.
And I don't want to say that's where most of our country is, where young people will do anything for the sake of having money. So, you know, so many times, what are we introduced to, including the aspects of drugs? We are introduced because there is a money concept involved. So if I give you something for free, you have not, you count on the cost on the money aspect, not on the values. You count on the cost of the money aspect. So you think it's free. So when I stop giving you free things, what happens?
So now, it comes bad.
Yes. And that's why we need to learn how to build ourselves, because even in the employment area, besides the papers that you will get after the completion of the 4 years, there's an aspect of you that has to do with you building yourself. Because now when money is the goal, you don't really put so much effort on yourself, because we could be having the same certification with, even as our teens get to high school, they finish high school and get to campuses. People even have fake degrees and PhDs, but you can be having a paper and your values speak more than your paper. You speak and people see something that, because of the building, and that's why I think we're doing this, because we want tangible, tangible building that is not just from papers, from all these things, but something you've grown building. Like, for example, how you've mentioned from the church. It's been, if we count the years, it's more than 15 years since the time we started going to Sunday school. We went to brigade, and now we're in the youth service. It's been building a certain culture, a certain value. That 15 years of building a value, you can't lose it unless you
now that you've just said something about getting from high school to university. And most of the time, as I ask Sam, what did he want to be? And so many times we find ourselves, even in that aspect of building yourself and realizing, I want to be into this career. You need to realize what motivates you to be in that career. And that's why there is a lot of frustration in the course of life, and especially now more than then. You know, now I think the government has tried to change the 844, the curriculum that taught us go to school, get a job. There is nothing else. So, okay, kama hujapata kazi, you become a nobody in the society.
And your mindset is like that.
Exactly. And you see, what also motivates you to choose your career matters a lot.
Yes.
Because when it is, let's say for instance, if you become a doctor and it is not out of an urge to be a servant to humanity, what does it mean? Then you become a doctor because of money.
Yes.
Then would that not translate to having you in the future then accepting to do illegal things, malpractices, just because you're paid?
Yes.
Because what was your motivation?
Money.
The money. As long as you fit in your motivation, then you are able to accomplish what was the end product.
Yeah.
So I would really want to insist to young people that the values you carry in you. You know, Paul talking to Timothy, and where the youths really, saa zile tunataka kugoma, saa zile tunataka kuleta fujo, sema let no one look down on you, because you are young. Then hapo tunajipiga kifua sana.
Tunasawa hapo mbele.
But remembering what he said after that,
yes,
becoming an example, he was talking about values. Yes, why are people, you don't accept them to look down on you, but why? Can you be an example?
Yes.
The way you speak?
Yes.
Because it's the same Bible that says, from the abundance of your heart,
the mouth speaks.
The mouth speaks. So when Paul is telling Timothy, by the way you speak, it means, what have you fed in you? Do you have enough values to be able to stand out? What are you using to build yourself? And now that you're talking about building up a teenager to become, asking ourselves, what, even at this particular time that we have a lot of freedom in terms of a lot of free time. So what are we feeding our minds? What are we feeding our hearts?
Sure.
Evaluating the time you have. How much are you using to read noble books? These I mean noble books, because you can also be reading novels that are diverting you to evil thoughts.
Yes.
Are making you, you know, some of the books that we read tend to divert you more from the values. You start reading a novel and you start becoming or thinking about masturbation.
Yes.
It's what you feed yourself.
Yes, yes.
So what are we doing? What movies are we watching? We have a lot of, I hear now Netflix has Showmax. Sasa ndio wana enjoy life, yeah? The owners, yeah? Sasa ndio wana feel the market has opened up. Because kutoka asubuhi,
there's a lot of free time.
unaamka asubuhi, Netflix. Baka siku hizi umefika time ya kunipatililia maji. You don't want to move from where you are.
Yes.
So what you feed yourself then determines what particular type of a person you will become.
It's true. So all in all, it's quantity. Quantity doesn't matter, but the quality of the thing that you provide is what really matters.
Yes.
So now, I think we're going to take a break.
Yes.
So we'll take a break and then we'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Nema Gito and I'm going to do a cover on the sax 10,000 Rhythms.
Welcome back to now the second segment of where we're still talking about being empowered. Now, we left at a point whereby we're talking about your career, how you're being motivated and what really motivates you towards being the person that you're supposed to be. I'll ask a very simple question. Like for you, Tesh, how did you come to realize that this is a kind of path that I'd like to take? Because most people don't come to a realization of that. And what really drove you towards that point of this is what I really want to do, and this is where I'm fit to be in this point?
Thank you, Sam. I think it's good to say that we are built by God being multitaskers. The notion where men cannot do more than one thing at the same time, it's a lie. Because basically, we always hear the people saying that this is what I do, and this is my side hustle. Does it mean that the side hustle is not important? It is. Sure. It's also very important. But one I usually say, what gives you joy and satisfaction in what you're doing? Because you might have a career, yes, you might have papers about something you went to school to do, but does it give you the excitement in you? Can you do that work without being paid and still do it? Because that is something very important. Sure. So I would say I wasn't perfect. We all yearn to have been told something at our early age. We yearn to have been impacted, as you guys are doing now, to have had somebody who would walk with us through. And I can tell you, I can attest and tell you, I've done quite a number of things. For me to, and even today, what I do best, it's not what maybe puts bread on my table, because service to humanity comes from me. So that is what I enjoy doing best. But I have papers on quite a number of other things, which it's also something I was pursuing. And it has helped me, because at one point you realize they interlock and they help you to manage what you love best. So what I would encourage the young people, don't stick to one thing. Don't be rigid. You cannot try to do other things. As long as you can be able to try, because I usually say the greatest enemy to the growth of young people is fear.
True.
Now, at your time, if you are today to do doctor, you do engineering, you have all the time to do that. But come to my age,
it's very
that
true.
time is not there.
Yes.
So take your time, do what you can, take short courses. You know, as earlier we had said, there is so much we can do as young people. And so many times we find ourselves, even when we have this freedom, what are you doing with the internet?
True.
You have the internet with you. Are you empowering yourself or wasting yourself?
True.
Because, well, it's good to watch movies. I'm not refusing. I also do so. But the more time you use on the internet, do you interrogate the internet for short courses? Do you look for something you can do that can empower you? What have you taught yourself, by the way, over this now new lockdown? We need to ask ourselves. So, Sam, what have you taught yourself new from the internet?
From the internet? Personally, Zoom classes zimekuwa online, so I've learned how to use Zoom.
Yes, and I, of course, in that concept, I know, you know the difference between writing a chat to the whole team and privately.
Yes,
don't worry, don't worry. Some of us learned it the hard way. Yes, where you are writing to someone specific, and then unaona kila mtu ana laugh, anacheka tu kwa hiyo chat, and then you are like, oh my God,
what happened?
Okay, it went to everyone.
Yes.
And you know you cannot apologize at that point. True. So you need to understand, as a young person, take advantage, learn something. Even in this time, si kila wakati ukiwa huko ni Netflix, ni Showmax. No, learn something new, and that makes you are empowering yourself. You are creating value. You are adding value. And let me tell you, education is good, and I want to urge you to pursue education. But I also want to urge you to engage in something that can add value to you. Tea is tea. Let me give you a very simple concept. Tea is tea. But when you ask people like me who drink tea, there's different types of tea.
True.
So kuna mtu anakunywa chai sababu chai ni majani. Na kuna mtu hawezi kunywa hiyo chai kama ina sukari. Na kuna mtu mwingine can only take 2 tea. But also when tea has milk, it's still tea. So at what level are you? There's a question you should ask yourself. What taste do you want to give out there? Yes, as a cup of tea, if I would serve you as a young person out there as a cup of tea, what type of tea would you want to be? And I hope this brings out the concept of how much we can empower ourselves, not just wait to be empowered.
True.
How much can we empower ourselves? How much can we interact with ourselves? You know, out there, if some today you are told to speak to 10 people, are you confident to speak to them? Because if you don't speak at home, if you always stay at your bedroom, and you don't even know how to speak to your parents and your siblings, how can you speak to 10 people that you do not know?
True.
That's my take.
Okay. Yeah, I really love the aspect of the tea. So, in conclusion, I want you people to know the kind of tea that you are. So, go find out the type of tea. Yes, so, juu tumeongelea kuhusu technology sana and the way technology has impacted us. So, Tesh, tukuulize, do you have a TikTok account?
Yeah, we have one as a family. We have one as a family. Yeah, we support.
Well, we expect to see you pale TikTok.
Yes.
As to
Oh, okay. Oh, my video on TikTok.
Yes.
Can I be able to borrow the account and do something with it?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Okay.
Sawa.
Don't send your daughter's video. We need
Yours personally.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best.
To send your videos on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and make sure you tag us and use the hashtag we are charged and your word my light. So till next time, it was an awesome time. See you later.
Thank you.